This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, in today's session, we're going to discuss about the cleanup actions in Python. Okay, cleanup action is nothing but, for example, you are writing some piece of code. In the try block, you are facing some exception. But the exception is raised. Okay, raised in the try block. Definitely, what will happen in the except block? You have to handle the exception. You have to handle the exception. After that, you have two more blocks, else block as well as finally block. The finally block will always executed whether an exception is raised or not. Whether it will raise exception, whether try block has a raised exception or except block is not handling exception. It won't take care of any of things. It will execute. It will always execute. What I'm trying to say here is in try block, if we have any exception, definitely it will go to the exception block and then you can going to handle the exception. But this finally block not going to take care of whether you handle the exception, whether you not don't have any exception. This finally block will be always executed, whether the exception is raised or not. Okay, mostly this finally block used for the cleanup actions. You might ask, what is cleanup action? If you are using file stream, if you are using doing some streaming, you have to close the file stream, right? You have to close the stream. As well as if you are using DB connections, you have to close the DB connections in the cleanup actions. If you are trying to connect a DB, then definitely you have to close the DB connections. That is called cleanup actions. If you are trying to read the file, definitely you have to close the file instance, right? That is called cleanup actions. Okay, this finally block won't take care of any of things. Whether you handle the exception, you will not able to handle the exception. Whether the exception is raised or exception is not handled, it won't care of any of things. Definitely, it will be always executed. Okay, now I'm going to say here, I'm going to have one piece of code here. Though I'm going to divide the value, it's a floor division. Okay, I'm not going to any decimals. I'm going to pass 3 and 2. If I pass 3 and 2, what will be the value you're going to say? You're going to say whether the except block, this print statement will print, or the else block will print, or finally block will print. You're going to say. If I pass 3, comma 2, x value is going to 3, y value is going to 2. Okay. Now, in try block, we are using result equal to x floor division. Floor division, there won't be any floating point numbers will come. Okay, there won't be any floating point numbers if you are doing the floor division. And then 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2. What value you get? Result. Three divided by 2. It's a floor division.
1.
1. Yeah, 1 will get, right? You will get the quotient, you will get 1. Fine. Now, what happens? Whether the exception block will handle the exception or not. You have to say in the flow. Okay, don't wait for my answers. You have to say the flow whether except block will handle the exception or not, which block else block will execute or not, or finally block will execute. You have to say in the flow. After performing the results, which block is going to execute? Except block or else block or finally block? You're saying the result
Yeah,
equal to 1.
here's
Yeah.
part. Here's
Else
part.
block, else part will work. Yeah, your answer is going, result is 1. Okay, because in the try block there is no exception. Else block is getting executed. What about the finally block?
It is always raised.
It is always executed. Okay, whether you handle the exception, you didn't handle the exception, or the exception not raised, definitely this finally block will be executed. It's only for the cleanup actions. It's going to print, yeah, your answer is 1, and then I am final class always raised. It's going to print. You can see here. Now code 2. Now what will be the output for this? what will be the output for this? You are passing x3 y equal to 0.
Yeah.
You're performing the floor division.
We go to except block. Sorry, or dividing by 0.
Okay, and then
And then finally block will be executed.
why not else block? Why not else block? That's my question. Else block will be executed if the try block, if there is no exception, is raised. The try block, if the exception is not raised, definitely else block will work. If in case in try block, if you get some exception, else block will not be executed. Okay, but finally block will execute it because you, whether you handle the exception, the try block you didn't get any exception, exception not raised, definitely final block will execute it. It's going to print sorry you are doing a 0, and then I am finally class always raised. You can see the results. That's why else block is not working. In try block, if you're not getting any exception, okay. These are basic examples, but I'm going to show some other examples. Okay, code 3. Now x value is 3, y value is 3. What will happen? Listen carefully. X value is 3, y value is 3.
It moves to the else block and then finally will be executed.
See the inputs. X value is 3, y value equals string, double quotes.
Okay.
What will happen? Because in the except block you didn't handle the exception, it's 0 division error, but it's some other name error. I guess like it's not name error. Like we have seen so much of exceptions, right? The exception name what you have seen. 1 minute. We have some built-in exceptions, right? In the built-in exceptions, we have the different exceptions. 1 minute. I think we hope it's exception handling. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, we are facing so much exception, right? Syntax error, type error, type error exception we will get. Okay, it's going to be a type error. Now, you didn't handle the exception. You didn't handle the type error exception. That's why definitely it's going to throw the exception as output as. But see here, even though if you're getting some exception, definitely what will happen? Finally, block will execute it. Execute after that if there is some exception. You can see in the output. You can see that it's giving the output and then it's throwing the error. It's unsupported operand type. Okay, because x is 3 is in value and y is going to string. Okay, if the exception is comes under the type error. Okay, now I'm going to show some examples for my PyCharm community edition. Okay, now what I'm going to do, right? Close these things. I will make it as one directory. In the directory, I'm going to have cleanup actions. In that, I'm going to mention on py file cleanup underscore 1. Okay, the py file name is going to cleanup underscore 1. Close the tabs. Okay. In Python, we can say there are several cleanup actions that you can define to ensure that your code is running efficiently and effectively. Okay, we have several cleanup actions. We're going to define that we are going to ensure that our code is running efficiently as well as effectively. And then, for example, the first real-time example I said to you, closing files. If you are trying to read from a file or writing some contents in the file, definitely it's very important to close them properly to avoid the resource leaks. You might have question, what is resource leaks? Resource leaks means whenever you're trying to read the contents from a file, the file gets open. File gets open means all contents will be stored in the memory. When you close the file connection, from the memory it will be freed. Freed means from the memory you can from the memory will get freed. Okay, that's why I'm saying resource leaks. When you're trying to read some contents, it will treat as your object in the memory. If you close these connections, your object will be deleted from the memory. That's why I'm saying to you, definitely if you're trying to read the from a file, definitely you have to use what you have to use. You have to close the file connections. Now, what I'm going to perform in the with class, I'm going to use a open. In that, I want to give some file name. Okay. Now I can give single quotes. Sorry, I can give single quotes. In the single quotes, I'm going to provide some file. HTML. Yeah, I have some app file, right? Python file I have. Okay. In the Python file, what I'm going to do, just it's here Python file. I'll take some other file name. File name it is. Okay, it's empty file actually. Yeah, yeah, I have some file over here. Just rename the file. Show more options. Just rename it. Sample files. Okay, sample files. Show more options. Go to properties. Just copy this file name and paste it over here. Dot txt. Control C and come to your with class. That's a function called open function. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I want to use a backward slash. And then I want to use, okay, that's it. And then I'm going to give as variable name file. Okay, and then I'm going to have one data equal to file dot read. I'm going to read the contents. Now in the with class, there is a one more statement is available. When you are trying to read the contents from a file, when the with statement is completed, it's going to close the connections. File will be automatically closed when the with block ends. When the with block ends. Here, no need to use try block and finally block, because with class internally they have try block and finally block. Whenever we are trying to read the contents from the file, whenever the with block ends, it automatically going to close your file connections. File is automatically going to get closed. Okay. Now I'm going to do like a print data. You can able to read the contents, right? After reading contents, what will happen? When the with block ends, file is automatically closed. File is automatically closed. Here no need to use any try and finally block. Finally block for only for cleanup actions. You can close the connections in finally block. Next thing is how to release the resources using finally block. If your code is using resources such as network connections or database connections, it is important for you to release those resources. Release the resources using finally block. Whenever the connection is not required for you, you have to release those connections. Then only your memory get freed. For this scenario, definitely you have to use that try and finally block. You can ensure that resources are properly released. Now I'm going to have one more example. I'm going to make it as cleanup underscore 2. Cleanup underscore 2. Now I'm going to perform some socket connections, network connections. You have to use one packet called socket, and then socket. Yeah, I'll take one variable called sock equal to socket dot. I want to connect to a network. I have to use that socket, and then socket dot AF. Okay, I want to connect, yeah, socket dot AF inet internet. Okay, I want to connect to internet, and then I want to stream from internet. Okay, I'm going to use socket dot sock stream. Sock stream. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect to my network, and then I'm going to stream the data. Now what I have to do, I have to use a try block, because I'm going to connect this network connections using sockets. Try block, you can use sock dot connect. I'm going to give some www.google.com. Okay, google.com. And then port number I have to mention as 80 port number. Simply as an, okay, 80 port number. And then okay, while connecting, definitely if it's not connecting, definitely what will happen? It's going to throw the exception. It's going to throw the exception. Okay, I don't know what exception is going to occur. Whether it will say like we're not able to connect, it will throw some exception. If I want to perform some cleanup actions, what did I do? Cleanup actions. What you have to do?
Finally block.
You have to use the finally block. You have to use. Okay, I made a blunder mistake here. Okay, yeah, you have to use the finally block. You have to use. Just come out of this finally block. In the finally block, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my socket connection. Sock dot close. Okay, not only for sockets. For example, if you're performing some DB connections, if you think that connection is not required, you can free the resources. Free the resources means you're going to close the DB connections. Automatically, memory will be freed. Okay, unnecessarily no need to occupy the memory, because you're trying to DB connections. Some memory will be allocated for the DB connections. If it's not required, you can release the resources. Okay, I think I hope it won't execute. Okay, I'm just I will try to execute. Let's see what exception happening here. It's not throwing any exception actually. Okay, it's not throwing any exception. Okay, finally it's got closed. This is going to be the another example for cleanup actions. Okay, now third thing I'm going to say, it's one of the very important thing. It's called garbage collection. See, if you take Java, in Java they have some threshold level. Okay, once the threshold get breached, the garbage collector will automatically tends to execute and clean the unnecessary objects. That is called garbage collection. Okay, in local terms I can say, layman terms I can say, garbage collection nothing but a dustbin. Okay, if you are trying to eat some foods, what will happen after that? You will throw the plates in the dustbin, right? Same thing in Java. Everything is object. Actually, everything is object. Once you start executing that once you start executing methods, okay, after completing the methods, that object is not necessary for you. Definitely garbage collector will going to clean the unnecessary objects. The same thing Python having here memory management. It's a dynamic memory management Python that will be handled automatically. You no need to take care of garbage collector. You no need to take off any garbage collector. Python will handle automatically because it have the memory management system. It's a dynamic memory management system that be handled automatically by the garbage collector. No need to worry about it. If you are trying to use multiple objects, if the memory is not sufficient for that objects to execute, so, for object to execute, it will delete the unwanted objects. Okay. Yeah, as well as I already said to you, Python will handle it dynamically, or no need to take care of the garbage collector. But explicitly, you can release a memory that's not longer required, that's not longer needed or longer required. Whichever object is not longer required, you can release a memory by doing explicitly. It's not required, but you can do it explicitly. Okay. Now, what you can do, I'm going to say one simple example. New the Python file. I'm going to make it garbage collector. What's the role of garbage collector? It will delete the unwanted objects. If you delete unwanted objects, the memory will be freed. Now, data equal to, I have going to have some list 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay. What happens? Totally I have around 5 elements. The 5 element will take some memory. You think that third element is not required. Okay, third element is not required for your use case. What you can do? You can use a del function, and then you can delete the value. What will you can delete? You can provide 2 because 1 is 0 position, 2 is first position, 3 is second position. Okay, now you can able to delete the variables or objects that are no longer required. Okay, now I am trying to delete the value. If I print delete of data, what will happen? I am explicitly deleting the variables, or you can delete the objects. If you want to delete the object entirely, delete of data you can give. Because list is an object. List is an object, we can say. I am trying to delete the object explicitly. Okay, I am trying to delete the object explicitly. For example, I have one more object. Like give some value 67, 99, sorry, 999, 234, 789. Okay, now what happened here is, if I printing this data, okay, printing the data of 2. Now I have how many objects I have? I have 2 objects. Data and data 1, I have 2 objects. Because I'm trying to access only data of 2, right? This object is not longer required. It will handled by the Python, because Python having the memory management system that will handle automatically by the garbage collector. If the object is not used, what will happen? The Python memory management will call the garbage collector. Garbage collector will delete the unwanted objects. If you're trying to run the script, what will happen? In the back end, it will try to delete this object because it's not used, right? You're trying to, you have initialized object, but still you are not using anywhere. I'm using only data of 2. I'm using only this object. I'm not using data on object. Definitely, the garbage collector is going to delete the object memory. Memory will be freed now. Okay, this is how you can able to do. You, as well as if you want to delete some variables, you can use what command you can use? Delete command. So delete command you can use. You can edit the variables as well as you can delete the object as well. Now what I'm trying to do explicitly, I'm trying to delete the data on object because list is object, right? It's an object.
Yeah.
This is how you can do it explicitly. Okay, and then one more thing I'm going to show now. It's called 1 minute. It's not yeah, non-exit 0, right? Non-exit 0. 1 minute. Yeah, non-exit 0 error. You might have question, what is this non zero exit code, sorry, non-zero exit code. Whenever a program is running successfully, it will return the status code as 0. If you run the Python script in the Linux environment, if you want to check the status of that application, it will return, if it's successfully executing, it will return the exit code as 0. If it's returning other than 0, what will happen? If it's returning other than 0, we will encounter that code is failed. If you're getting status code as exit code as 0, it's success. Apart from 0, you're getting -1, -2 or something, you're getting means definitely that is code is failed, and the exit code status is it will be -1, -2, -3. Okay, that's what every programmer will check for the status of code, that is called non-zero exit code. You should not get non-zero. Non-zero means that definitely the code is going to get failed. You definitely have to get 0. When the code returns 0, it means successfully executed. Otherwise, it will return some other number depending on the type of error. Okay. For every status code, we'll have some error types we have. Okay, like -1 we have different error types, -2 have different error types. But our goal is to get, what's our goal? We have to get the status code as 0. Apart from that, you're getting some other values, you get the other type errors. Okay, it will be a different error types. Sorry. Now I'm going to show some examples to you. It's a non-zero exit code, right? What examples I can show you for you? Yeah, non-zero exit code, we have various types. One is division by 0 error, index out of range error. When you are trying to open a file, that particular file does not exist, definitely it's going to throw one more error. Okay, what they're saying here is, apart from 0, apart from you're getting some other values, it's going to be a non-zero exit code. Non-zero exit code means a failure one, 0 means success. And then when you will get the non-zero exit code error means, if you're trying to open a file that does not exist, if you're trying to divide a number by 0, you'll get some errors. And then if you're getting index out of range, index out of range means, for example, I have list, if you're trying to access more other than the index list, you'll get the index out of range error. Okay, now I'm going to show some examples to you. I'm going to have some piece of code here, like I'll make it here itself. New directory n non-zero exit code, right? The directory, in that I'm going to create one py file. I'm going to make it division by 0. Division by 0. Okay. In that you already know, right? You're going to A going to be 20 and B I going to take a 0. If I try to divide the value, what will happen? C equal to A divided by B. And then what I'm trying to do, I'm going to save this file, and then just going to open in Explorer. I'm going to execute this file by using command line. Okay, I'm going to put like Python 3, so it's Python 3, right? Python 3 division 03 by pi. Okay, Python was not found. Run with the arguments installed on Microsoft Store. Okay, Python is not installed. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll use the Anaconda environment to run the script. Anaconda environment to run the script. 1 minute. Yeah, we'll use this Anaconda environment to run our scripts. Just put Control C. Sorry. Error handling, non-zero error codes. Just copy, CD. Okay, and then we're going to use Python 3 division 03 by the pi y. Why it's getting Python was not found? 1 minute. Python was not found. Okay. Yeah. Python, we have to use Python division by 3 pi y. We're getting division by 0 error. Okay. Now I'm going to check my status code. Let's check. Okay, why it's not being status code? Echo dollar of question mark. Echo statement I used, but not giving any status codes. 1 minute. Mm, okay, though it's Windows, right? Okay, 1 minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now see here, what you have to do. If you are using Linux environment, you can use echo dollar of question mark. You can use. Okay, but though it's a Windows environment, you have to use echo, and then you have to use a error level. I want to know the error level status code. I want to know. It's giving 1. It's giving 1. Okay. Now, if it is running successfully, for example, my program is running successfully, I'm going to change the value now. 20 or 20. Okay. If I run the script, I'll get the status code as
0.
0. Okay. Okay. This is called non-zero exit code. Okay. Apart from 0, you should not get any codes. If you are getting apart from 0, that is called errors. Okay. Now I will just Google it over here to check the types of error codes. Type of non-zero error codes. Okay, list type will get the okay non-zero error types. I'm asking types runtime error. Okay, non-zero exit code status. Okay, non-zero exit code status. Type these things. Okay, non-zero errors in Python. Let's see. Okay, they given some other things. Types of errors. Yeah, you can see the types, right? For example, floating point error division by 0. Okay, if you are getting a floating point error with yeah serial number it is, right. Serial number, non-zero zip codes, non-zero error codes, non-zero error codes list, non-zero error codes list, non-zero error codes list. Exit codes in Python. Let's check on this. Exit 1 minute. How do you get the list of exit codes? Yeah, you can able to see the list of error codes here. 0 means successful termination. 64 base value error messages. 60 means cannot open input. 6 address unknown. Okay, like this. You're going to have the list of error codes. Okay, I will share it later because it's not giving the one, because -1, -2, 1, 2, 3 for every status codes. You have a set of 66 means cannot open input. 67 means address unknown. Like this, you have a set of exit codes Okay, I will share in the YouTube. You can able to refer it. Okay. Now next thing I'm going to share. This is the first example. Second example I'm going to show. Second example is nothing but I'm going to have my list 134 and 56. I'm trying to print my list fourth index. What will happens? Definitely it's going to throw index out of error. If I run the script, yeah, list index out of range. If you check the status code, it's giving again one only for you. Echo error level is going to 1. And then next we can try with file. We'll try with file like with statement, and then you can use open. Okay, I'm giving some file like no file dot txt, and then I'm going to use mode as a read mode as file. Sorry, as file, and then data is a variable that file dot read. Okay, now if I save the script and run through the Anaconda prompt, okay, file not found error getting because no file.txt is not available. Now we go and check that error codes. It's default giving one only, but we have the different error codes. Okay, if you try to execute in the Linux, we can able to see the different error codes you will get -1, -2. Okay, 1, 2, 3 up to the range will be 100. Okay, you have a set of error codes will be there. Each non-existent status code will give the different error informations. Okay, fine. Now, what I'm going to do? Okay, let it be. I close the session right now. We'll see the pandas tomorrow.